Hi everyone. I wanted to go back in my story a little bit and share some things from early on. When I was younger, I had these mysterious illnesses that would happen to me. I think it was about 9 months old, and my mom was holding me, and I just went limp and passed out in her arms. I wouldn't come back to, and scared her, scared everybody. They rushed me to the hospital, and I came out of it. Nobody could explain it. I lost consciousness for a period of time. And actually, when I was younger, I would faint, blood drawn. I one night couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. I was being suffocated, and they took me to the hospital, and I was put in a tent for like 6 weeks or something. And all I remember about that is feeling like something was on top of me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. It was like the breath was being sucked out of me, and then I couldn't get any more. And I remember being in the tent and just wanting to reach out to my mom and not being able to touch her. I couldn't touch anyone. And anyway, that was traumatic for me because I didn't understand what was happening. But years later, I had a vision, or remembered that I was visited frequently by this dark, it was like a dark cloud, and it would come into my room at night, and it would sit on my chest, and it felt like suck the air out of me. And it would visit me a lot, and I didn't know what it was, but I wasn't afraid of it. I just didn't necessarily like it. But the purity of a child isn't as affected by hauntings or evil like adults are. I'm not saying that they can't be possessed and overtaken, but it's different. It's different because the purity can't be taken over. The purity of heart, and I really got to see that. I also saw how there was something dark that was controlling my dad, and I agreed to take that on for him, and I agreed to hold that inside of me for years to protect him, because I wasn't afraid, because I didn't carry fear or anger or heavy emotions that it could feed on. I was able to hold it and keep it from affecting the rest of my family, and especially my father. Now, he did pick up other dark things, but this one in particular was very big and just really evil, very destructive. In my child's mind, and maybe a more expanded consciousness, agreed, like my oversoul, my higher self agreed on some level that I could do this for him because I loved him. And it didn't seem to take me down. Years later, I did take on depression, but when I tracked it, it wasn't really connected with that. It was something different that came in. So I would also be visited by ghosts, spirits that wanted to communicate with me. A beautiful neighbor of mine came and visited me, an older lady that I would go visit after she passed on. She visited me, and a little girl spirit was with me a lot. And so that was just something, I just saw everything as like a spirit, not, I didn't really fear the dark spirits. It's kind of like, you have different people that you interact with throughout the day. Some people you really like, and others you're like, just don't really mesh with them, or don't resonate with them. And so that's kind of how, as a child, I thought about these spirits coming in and out. But I did get very familiar with dark, heavy energy, and I was aware of being visited, and I vaguely remember being taken but I don't recall that completely. It was almost like I was taken someplace and then brought right back. You know, it wasn't like an alien abduction. It was more of like a traveling with a spirit. But the darker ones would come, and the one in particular would kind of take my energy, and so I've heard other stories about this as well, like mysterious illnesses. You know, I broke my leg very early on, and it just seemed like I kind of was burning through some stuff, or having some initiations, or resisting coming into this fully. And so the point of talking about all this is that I kind of grew up not really being afraid of dark energy, but also being familiar with it. You know, I could see it in other people and I would steer clear of them, or I could kind of see the future, what was going to happen with someone. I would get good vibes or bad vibes, you know, from certain people. And so I had I had clairvoyance. I was always kind of in tune with other realms, and that was just normal. I would sleepwalk frequently at night, and I felt very safe in my little toy box. I would take all the toys out and hide in there. I was really trying to get away from the dark thing that would come and suck the air out of me. Not because I was afraid, but because I just didn't like it. So, and I never wanted to sleep on my back or my stomach, because they would come and sit on top of me. But if I slept on my side, it was different. They couldn't quite get hooked in, and I knew that. And so I would go on trips, you know, walking around. My family would have to go look for me in the morning, and I would talk a lot in my sleep. So as a young person, I was tapped in and communicating, and already managing energy. And I think a lot of empaths do that. So, but I am aware of certain times that I did agree to take on energy for other people. That kind of weighed me down a bit, but didn't, I was able to manage it. I always had a very powerful guide with me that was protecting me, and protected me a lot in my life when I was in potentially life-threatening situations. I was protected and very taken care of in that respect. So, I think that we are given seeds and clues when we're younger to what we're here to do. And so I think that a lot of empaths and sensitives, they are here to manage energy, to transmute energy, and they start doing this as children. And that if you look back on your life and really take a look at, did you have illnesses? Did you have physical accidents a lot when you were coming in? Were you able to see through people and see their intentions? And were you visited, who were you visited by? What messages did you get? Are you still going through that? And I think that gives you, a good indication of your purpose, what you're here to do, because a lot of times sensitives feel like they're just burdened more than other people, or they just have this curse, and if you really look back to your childhood and look at the things that you loved doing, did you love going on imaginary trips? Did you love working around water? Did you communicate with animals? Did you hear the trees? These things are gifts. These things are gifts. And if you look back and you see the things that you did most of the time as a young child, or see how you interacted with others, you'll get a very clear picture of who you are and what you're meant to do here for other people. And I want to talk about something else as well. Recently I posted something that I wrote about when I went to the river, and I connected with it and I let it sing through me. And for sensitives and empaths and people that are drawn to shamanic work, this is a really good thing to do, is to connect with the earth, connect your heartbeat to the earth's heartbeat, and connect with that energy, draw it up in you, and then send love out to the earth and to all the beings, and just get a sense of that energy and really connect with it, and then let it move through you. You can do this with wind, water, fire, and so you can also do it with plants. You can just really tune in and ask to hear their song. You can do this with trees, and then just listen intently with the intention to connect with them, and then ask if they will share their song with you. And then you might get a little tune in your head. You might get a little rhythm in your head, and then just sing it out loud. It could be really simple. It could be one note, or it could be a melody, or it could just be just a rhythm. When I first started tapping into the river, I heard like drums, and then it turned into a voice. One river I heard like a moaning, or like a moaning that turned into an om sound. And other times I've connected with plants, and it's just been like doo 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 doo, the same kind of two sounds over and over. And so you can do this, you can play with this, and I think it's really important for people that are sensitive to energy and pick up feelings, because you get to use that gift to connect more deeply and to find a way to bring that energy out more into the world. And I think it's very important right now, especially, to bring the energy of the earth and the elements out into our world more and more, through the voice, through movement, through instruments, because that is bringing that soft, loving energy of nature and healing energy. And you can also have the intention to connect with ancestor spirits of the land, or devas, or spirits of the animals around, or spirits of the forest, fairies, that sort of thing. I haven't had a lot of experience doing that. I am playing with it more now, but it's fun. It's a fun way to connect and to use that gift, because if you're going to tap in and be able to feel everything around you, then you might as well tap into things that are lovely and profound and powerful and life-giving, right? And it really gets to be like such a habit, so that when you go to different places and you're hiking, or you're in a different lake or a different area, you can really tune into the spirit and the song of that area. And animals, you can tune into them very quickly and hear what they have to say, and so it becomes a lot of fun. And if you allow yourself to experiment, to play with it, it can just open up worlds, universes to you. So I wanted to talk about that, because as a sensitive that has always been open, and things showing up to communicate with me, I didn't know for the longest time that I could actually use it as play, as fun, as something useful for this earth and humanity and consciousness. So thanks for watching.